This has been very nice to have in my life. I've had this for like a week and a half now. I would say it's improved my relationship with games, especially like during the semester right now. My arrangement with like classes and just like my time management that I've had this semester. I primarily use this thing in bed, or on the couch when I get home, or before I leave for school, and then like on the train ride to school for $450. That's what I got it for. $450. I think they go for $450 more often now because of the new model, the Ally X, which just has like a bigger battery, a little bit more RAM, a redesign for like the case in of itself with like major life improvements, but like no new CPU or anything like that. So like no major performance boost. It's really just like quality of life upgrades. That retails for like $800. This retails for like I think $700, depending on like if you get the Extreme or the regular Z1, or if you get more storage. The Ally X comes with like 1 TB. This comes with 512, so there's like an upgrade to like the base model basically. So there's reasons why the price got increased. But for $500, which is what I got for this like after tax and stuff, I would say this is pretty worth it. Just because of, like all the comfort it affords you at pretty decent performance. I would say that like if you didn't have a computer and you just wanted to get this thing, especially on depending on like what kind of games that you play, I would say it's a worthwhile investment. I would say maybe save up for the Ally X just because it has a bigger battery and so you won't have to like be plugged in all the time. But even if you are, like it's not a bad experience. So it really just like depends like what you want to do and like looking into that for yourself. But just to like talk about the device in of itself and like how my experience with it has been, like my interest in it and like why I bought it. I was very intrigued at the idea of having a full-blown computer in this form factor, or smaller even, maybe even a little bigger. Anything that's like not too close to a laptop, because this is essentially a laptop with a controller attached into it. Or you can even call it a Windows tablet that's running full-blown Windows, not Windows S, not Windows ARM. It is Windows 11, full-blown through and through. Built-in controller, basically an Xbox controller, SD card reader, volume buttons, stuff like that. It runs Windows. So hypothetically, I could get rid of my laptop, and I could get rid of my desktop, and just have this thing. Gaming device, portable computer device, computer that could be docked, and I could plug in a mouse, a keyboard, and monitor if I wish. I could play that way, or I could do general computing things that way, or I could do it all with this. Granted, when I'm out and about, I could use the touchscreen keyboard and like the mouse solutions, or I could carry a mouse with me. I could carry a smaller Bluetooth keyboard with me. I could even carry my mechanical keyboard with me if I wanted to. It doesn't take up that much space in your backpack, granted. I wouldn't want to carry all that stuff. Now, I've been carrying this with me to school, and there's days where I only bring this and a notebook for my class, and then there's days where I bring my laptop with me because I need it for class. But I could hypothetically do the classwork on this thing. I simply haven't tried doing that because I don't want to buy all these accessories and stuff just to make this thing work, because I'm only trying it out this week to see if I like the technology. But I can say after 1 week, I'm intrigued by it. But I'm kind of torn because part of me doesn't want to have so many computers, because I know what having a lot of computers is like. Even if they're not mine, just having to manage too many computers in my life gets very annoying. As like the tech savvy person in my family, like I kind of have to like manage my parents' phones. I gotta manage my siblings' computers when they need computer help. I gotta manage my own computers, and all that's kind of annoying. So having this, a laptop, a desktop, and a smartphone, which you can't really like, get rid of unless you're like really committed to the dumb phone stuff, it's not ideal. I would say, for me personally, maybe still thinking about it, I would probably just keep the MacBook and keep it handheld. If I ever need Windows, I could dock this and get a full-blown Windows experience. Heck, if I want Windows, I could just virtual machine that onto the MacBook if I wanted to, if I really need to. I don't need Windows, to be honest. I'm doing fine just with Mac. I only have Windows for gaming, and this runs Windows, and it runs games. I even tried streaming from my desktop to my Mac and my iPhone before buying this, because it's a decent experience. It depends on like what your connections are with your home network, and like if you have Ethernet, and if you have like a good connection when you're away from the home, or if you're in the home, stuff like that. I would say streaming on this would probably be very intriguing because the battery life would last longer, and you would still have like the comfort of a built-in screen controller thing handheld, right? I haven't tried it yet, but I would assume the battery life would be better because you're simply just running Windows and a streaming software, so like Steam Link or whatever. I would assume the battery life is better, like I said, because you're not running the game on the device in itself using the juice from the battery. Because this thing will like last you an hour at best, maybe 2, maybe 3, depending on what game you're playing, at what setting, or if you're like doing just general computing and not actual gaming. But I would assume you'd get like at least 2 hours or 3 streaming a game to this. Surely it's not that power demanding. I'm sold. Like, I like this. I want to keep it, but I want the better model, so I'm going to return it. But even for $450, I would say it's a pretty good deal, because I personally have the confidence to upgrade the battery in this thing, which is possible. It requires like opening the device and like doing stuff to it. But with my skills, I'm personally confident in doing so, and I wouldn't mind doing it. But just having that out of the box and like officially from the company with a warranty and stuff like that is convenient. So I will just spend the extra money once I return this to get my money back for it, to get the better model with the better battery. I've been carrying this in my backpack in the box that it came in because I haven't bought a case for it. But now that I'm considering getting it, if I were to get a case for this, the footprint, instead of carrying the box with me and just having this, would go down significantly. And, it'd probably be like this thick in my backpack. I don't know if you can see that well. It'd probably be like that thick in my backpack, which is not that bad. It's a pretty small backpack. I just carry a notebook with me. And again, it could replace my MacBook, but even then, my MacBook doesn't take up that much space. So it would be a lot more convenient in terms of like packing it and carrying it with me, I would say. There's so much I could talk about in terms of technology in of itself, and maybe I will in a dedicated video, but honestly, there's a whole section of YouTube now, and that's how YouTube is. There's niches for everything, but there's a whole niche on YouTube dedicated to handhelds, dedicated to each handheld specifically. These are like wonderful emulation devices just because they don't require as much juice. You're playing games from previous console generations. Playing MGS5 on this, that's a 10-year-old game. It runs phenomenally on this at lower wattages, which means more battery life. Not by much, but you get the idea. And that's thanks to like the engine that game runs on, but like just playing old games, playing critically acclaimed games from the previous console generation in this form factor, in bed, on the couch, on the train, whatever, is very nice. I don't have to be at my desk as a PC gamer, or, I don't have to be bound to all the downsides of having a console. And even then, prior to this, I was thinking about getting a console because it was like, wow, I can get an Xbox One X for like under $300 used in pretty good condition with the controller, and I could just go to Half Price Books or whatever they sell secondhand games and buy it for cheap. It'll be like a Steam sale every day. I can get games for like under $12. I will say I'm curious about how the DLC would be for that, because maybe you're still stuck to buying DLC online and not getting discounts or whatever, but it is very nice having all of those Steam sales and being able to get the benefits of having a console. So I can buy Steam sale games with the DLC and everything and have the console experience on a handheld. That's awesome. All that stuff put together is what has me sold. But now I'm like deciding whether or not I want to sell this thing to make more money to get the better version of this. I could have both, but I kind of don't want to have both simply because it seems silly to have a powerful computer and then a semi-powerful handheld. Like, I might as well just have like one and commit to it, but it's whatever. I will say, if you don't have a computer and you want to get into PC gaming and you're coming from a console, this is a very happy like in between, because you're gonna get all the benefits of PC with near the performance of console and still kind of have the console experience. Even if you're like a low budget gamer, like I have friends who have computers less than $500, paying for sales price. This is $450. After tax, it's close to $500. I would say this is a pretty good experience as well. And the accessories available for it, like you could plug it into a dock and then have like a keyboard and mouse and then like a monitor. The settings won't be like the greatest. And there are solutions around that, and I don't want to like talk about all that in this video because it would be too long. It's still possible. And even then, I would assume if you're like a budget gamer, you would probably already have that in mind, that the performance isn't going to be like all it could be. But again, if you're coming from a console and want to get into PC gaming, you can still get the console like experience with the PC benefits with these Windows handhelds, even the Steam Deck. I would say if you're like in those camps, console trying to get into PC, or if you're like a low budget gamer, or if you like playing single player games, or you're like emulating games, so like older games, if you're not an esports like competitive, like you need every advantage, like maybe not for you, unless you're willing to make some trade-offs, of course. It is possible, but again, not, I would say, the most ideal or most catering to that demographic. Then you should consider getting these with handhelds. But if you need like a computer, then of course get a computer. Get a gaming laptop or a gaming desktop. I will say, having had a gaming laptop and a gaming desktop and now a gaming handheld, you do also get the benefits of both. Because desktops are rather quiet because it's not like a small package packing a lot of power and heat. You have, 3 fans with 2 exhausts, or 2 large fans here, and like 3 fans on the GPU. A gaming laptop's going to sound like a jet engine, and it's going to get pretty hot pretty quick, and if you're close to it, you're going to feel it. Also, if you're playing on the keyboard that the laptop has, it's going to get warm. And just all that stuff is, you get used to it as a gaming laptop owner. But again, having had both, I do prefer the desktop experience, despite the convenience of being able to play a game wherever you want because of the gaming laptop. Now with this, it can get loud, but not too loud. Not as loud. And it can get hot, but not too hot and not as hot. Or maybe as hot. It really depends. I've had times where like the CPU temperature goes up really high, and I just kind of like change how I'm holding it and like let it rest, or like I'll pause the game and let it rest. Or maybe there's some setting that I have enabled that I have to disable. But pretty much everybody making handhelds has a pretty good like repairability. Like there's parts for it, of course, because it's like multiple parts inside of a small package. It's not like just like one solid brick that needs to be replaced entirely. Like you can buy replacement parts. You could get a new device under a warranty instead of having to fix it yourself. There's options for you. I don't know. I feel like for the casual and even for like the person who likes to tinker with their devices, this is still a pretty good option. Yeah, I'm just gonna cut the video here. I could probably make another one talking about other things. This has been pretty life-changing. I'm able to play most of my library without having to be stuck at my desk anymore. If I want to go chill on the couch or in bed and play a story game, I literally could. I don't have to be stuck at my desk anymore. Now, I mean, I could always just plug in my desktop into like a TV and like use a controller that way. And that, I mean, I did do that for a while, but being able to just have a singular device all together. All I'm carrying is this, an audio solution, or even the built-in speakers are pretty decent, and the charger. That's all you need. So that's been very nice.